What's going on, guys? My name is Kerry, and today I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why a single wide is better than a double wide. Don't get me wrong, they're both a great option, but depending on your situation, one option is going to be better suited for you than the other. So let's dive in and look at a few of the reasons why a single wide is the better option. Let's go. The first reason is they're generally more affordable. The cost savings start at the factory and carry all the way through the delivery and into the setup. If you think about it, it's built in one piece, so it's an easier, faster build for the factory. I can buy a 16-foot by 76-foot single wide, which is 1,216 square feet, for less money than I can buy a 27 by 44 double wide, which is 1,188 square feet. And that's just where the savings start. To get a single wide from the factory to the home site requires one truck to make one trip. With a double wide, the same truck has to make 2 trips, or you need 2 trucks to make 1 trip. So the freight bill is gonna be usually close to double. That doesn't matter if you live close to the factory, but if you're taking this house a long ways, cutting your freight bill in half is going to be a significant savings. When a single wide arrives at the home site, it arrives as a finished home. All that's left to do is block it, install the vinyl skirting, build the deck or steps, and hook up the services. If all goes well, this process can take 3 to 5 days, and then someone can be moving in. I'm in an 18-foot single wide. Everything in this house was finished when it arrived. So the appliances, the backsplash, the cabinets are installed, the blinds are hung. We don't have to do a thing in this house when it gets here, except for we made a tiny adjustment to the door because it wasn't quite opening right, but that's nothing. Everything that has to be done is outside. We built a deck, we put on the skirting, and we hooked up the surfaces. So that stuff is really fast and can be done rather quickly, so the turnaround time and setup costs are quite low. On a double, the setup takes 2 to 3 times longer because on top of everything I just mentioned, you have to join the 2 sides together. So on the inside, on the mate walls, you got to do the vinyl covered gyprock work or the drywall work. You got to do the ceiling where there's just a giant crack running right down the middle. You've got to do the floors because they're not joined together. Then you go outside. You got to finish the ends because they're not done with vinyl or hardy board from the factory. And then you've got to get up on the roof and finish that. I'm standing in a 27-foot wide double wide. This is where the 2 halves come together. So even though it's finished now, when it arrives in 2 pieces. So that half is 1 piece, that half's another piece. This section right here isn't finished, and all that work has to be done in the entire house. Anywhere the house comes together, there's gonna be work to be done to get it finished and move-in ready. That, along with the ceiling where it joins and the floor where it joins, is a lot of extra on-site labor. Long story short, the on-site setup required for a double is a lot more labor intensive than that of a single, which means more money. So we've got less money at the factory for a single wide, we've got less money in freight for a single wide, and we've got less money in on-site setup for a single wide. It doesn't take very long to figure out why we can get more space for less money by getting a single wide. The second reason single wides are better than double wides is single wides can be moved again if need be. Double wides can be moved again if need be, but I wouldn't recommend it because then you're paying all the costs I just talked about twice, plus you've got to pay to take it apart, and it just all adds up so fast. If you're wondering why being able to move the house again matters, the reason is it allows you to buy a home for midterm use and then easily move it when you sell it 10 to 15 years down the road. The most common midterm use I see is family members buying a secondary dwelling on their property for parents or kids. This is a great option for people who want to have their family close, but not too close. When the circumstances change and the family member no longer wants to live in the single wide, it's easy to sell, and they actually go for more than most people would think as long as it's kept in good shape, because there's a lot of people looking for something just even a little bit more affordable than something brand new. I actually had someone email me just yesterday looking for a used 3-bedroom. So let's have a look at what would have to be done to prepare a single wide in order to be moved. If you're gonna move a single wide, basically what you have to do to get it ready is just the exact opposite of what you did for the setup. So we'll have a look around and I'll talk about some of the things you'd have to do. If you're buying a house and you know you're gonna move it in 10 or 15 years, you gotta decide how much you wanna spend on stuff like the deck, because you're likely not gonna get any value out of that when it comes time to sell. This specific house is on a nice lot in a beautiful park, so likely won't be moved again, but I'm gonna use it as an example. So the first thing you'd wanna do is take the deck down, then remove the skirting along the outside, and then we'll duck underneath and I'll show you where the hitch would go on the frame. If you're buying a house that you know you're gonna move again, make sure the company leaves you the hitch. So that's where the hitch would connect. It just bolts onto the frame on either side. And then you can take these concrete blocks out of here and put it on temporary blocks. The trucking company will come and put the wheels under the back. You disconnect the services and you're ready to hit the road. Realistically, you could have a house like this ready to ship in about half a day. It doesn't take a lot of work to get this thing ready to be moved if it came time to sell it. The third reason single wides are better than double wides is the width. If we see prices continue to rise, I think developers are going to come out with smaller lots to make home and land ownership more affordable. If you're not in an area that has seen the drastic price increases and rising rents, then this might not resonate with you, but there are places all over North America where people are getting squeezed. Well-built, nicely optioned single wides on small lots is a trend I think we're going to be seeing a lot of coming next year to help combat the crazy price increases that we saw this year. One of the best things about manufactured home factories is their ability to adapt and innovate and provide a home that people want at a price they can afford. So watch out for that coming next year. These are just a few of the reasons and scenarios that single wides are better than double wides. But as I mentioned before, everyone's situation is totally different. So for a lot of people, the double wide might be the better option. And I'm gonna argue that point in another video. That's all I've got for today. If you found this video interesting, subscribe to my channel because I got a lot more coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.